The next website we're going to take a look at today is the website of Phill Andrew. He's a photographer from the Yorkshire area, personal friend of mine. So thanks for putting this up for critique, Phill. Hopefully we're going to give you some ideas of how we can improve this site just a little bit. So first off, Phil's got a website here. He's got a couple of different websites for his business. But this website is all about personal branding and image. And I know that Phill does a fair bit of networking and bits like that. So this is a nice site for him to kind of encourage the people that are within his networking circles to have some professional photographs done for their businesses, give the people an idea of what they do and bits like that. So it's a nice, fast, easy loading website with a nice variety of pictures. But it's a one-page website at the moment. So one-page websites as a whole, they do give Google a little bit of a challenge. First of all, you've got an awful lot of content in one place, but it's difficult to build up the authority of your site based on just a single page of content. So as a very minimum, Phill, I would recommend either popping in a second page, which would be case studies and examples of work that you've performed for other people and how you've helped them solve their branding issues, or I'd look at popping a blog in there on the back end of this, because this is a WordPress-based site, so it's a very quick and easy thing to do. And then, of course, you could build those case studies into the blog posts. So first impressions of the site is nice and clean, it's quick and easy to load, but there's a few garish things that I'm going to point out to you. And as you're a friend, I know that I can give you some tough love to go away and do a few things to improve your site. So first off, top part of our website, I love to see contact details nice and easy to get to. You've popped them in the top header here. This is called our second menu area of our header. I'd like to see your logo a little bit larger, probably around 350 pixels in height, and the same with the contact number and the email icon at the top here. In a perfect world, I'd like to see those over to the right hand side here. You can, in the Divi theme that you're using, add them as the contact button as a widget here on the right hand end of the page, and that would be a better place. We read a website from left to right. We zigzag down through the page the same way that we would do reading through a newspaper, and at the moment there's a few little things we've got to take care of. So I'm on a nice big 27-inch iMac at the moment, and this big chunk of text here at the left hand side I love. It's nice, it's not all about you, it's about elevating their brand. At the moment it's sitting askew off to this left hand side. As I scroll down the page, everything else, the kind of margin is roughly where my mouse cursor is, which is boxed content, and then we've got a few bits of content that just fall outside of that. But it just skews the eye a little bit from side to side, pulling us around the page. We always seem to have a very large white area on the right hand side here. I'm not quite sure why that is. The top bar here is in a very, very bright blue, and everything else in the way of your branding colors is very, very gentle, pastel-y kind of colors. So I would look at changing this top bar at the moment. So we're going to bring this text in and book a branding chat with Phill in probably by about an inch or so into the site. This book a branding chat with Phill is actually a button at the moment, but I wouldn't know that without clicking it. So I'd change this letter in here to some blue text, Phill, because we associate blue text on a website as a hyperlink. So change that wording to blue, the same blue that's up the top here, and the eye will be pulled to it, and we'll click that button. The text here in this first paragraph is absolutely fantastic. It's focused around other people, and it's focused on what you deliver for them, rather than saying, I'm a photographer that bought my first camera at whatever age and I've taken 1 million photos. This here works very softly afterwards, and I really like that. It should probably be a little bit further down the page. Services, what I offer. You need to have a friend or family member proofread your pages. What I offer either sounds like very bad grammar or a very poorly put together phrase of how you're going to help them. If we think about the whole process of marketing, it's about identifying a problem, identifying a solution, and then us being the person that's going to help them get to their goal. So why are they coming to us for personal branding? Well, they want their business to stand out because they're self-employed, they're a consultant, they're a speaker. They need to stand out from the crowd with their images. They need to book more speaking jobs. They need to get more money through the door. They need to sell more product. They need to build trust. All of these are things that you can help them do, and it's very, very simple for you to do, but they need you to solve their problem. This 1, 2, 3 is absolutely fantastic. Rather than a little bit further down the page, I know you've got it stepped through again, but literally I think I'd probably put the steps here rather than the words "what I offer." I'd say 3 simple steps to brand imaging. Number 1, our consultation. Number 2, our creation session. Number 3, content for your website. Again, big blocks of text tend to be harder for people to read and absorb. If we can pop some bullet points into some of these, maybe a bolder few words or lines or key points, things that make it a little bit more interesting for them to read. If you split this into 2 paragraphs, this into 2 paragraphs, this into 2 paragraphs, then that makes that a little bit easier to absorb. As I say, bullet points, different colors, things like that are really important as well. I would look at the brand colors you're using for the site. At the moment, it's very beige. We actually want our clients to stand out. So the beige coloring may not be strong enough for us. Our headers, so the titles that appear in subtitles and subheadings through the page, we can use a different color for these to draw attention as well. So it'd be very good to sit down and think about the color scheme. There are some tools that I can point you in the direction of that will give colors that complement each other very quickly and very easily. But your whole branding color scheme needs to revolve around who your target client is. Is that a 50-year-old female client that runs a bookkeeping business, in which case beige may be perfect for them? Or is it an effervescent speaker that wants to go out and promote their speaking, or a magician, or all sorts of bits like that? So it's very much about who you want to attract as well. I'm going to send you a couple of links. This video here, what you've started to do is absolutely fantastic. Video gets engagement on sites. Now, I know you and like you, Phill, but I don't really want to look up your nose, mate. And as harsh as it sounds, you know, the first picture of this video is somebody looking up your nose. So what I would do with this, Phill, I'm going to send you some links. I'm going to ask you to invest about £25 in a little attachment that will go on your camera tripod, which will hold your iPhone or your smartphone in a horizontal position on the tripod, and then at least we can get that eye level with the camera. Just as the same as photographing a portrait, if we shoot from above, we make people look, belittle people effectively, make them look vulnerable. By shooting them from below, we either make them tower above, and I know you're a big, tall, strapping chap, so I'm used to looking up to you, but we want to be eye level with you in a piece of video, because it's going to connect with our visitor, our reader, the person watching the video, the viewer. The other thing I'm going to get you to invest in for about £10 is a lavalier mic, or a lapel mic, and you can tuck that down the inside of your polo shirt, plug it into the back of the smartphone, and we can get some beautifully crisp sound. Now, the kit that I'm going to send you a link to has even got what's called a dead rat to go over the microphone, and that dead rat you can use outside as well. So for about £20-25, you can invest in a couple of pieces of equipment that mean that you can record some video outside and get some beautiful sound, and record some inside and get some good sound as well. We want to change that angle of the camera as well. You've embedded this video in something like YouTube or Vimeo, which is great, which means it's fast to load as well. You can add a title screen to that, and you can add an end screen to it as well, and that means that you add your branding to it. One of the other things that I would do is, because you're focusing yourself as a branding expert, I would use one of the video tools and add an overlay here, like you see on the BBC News, a little bit of ticker tape that just turns around and says Phill Andrews brand images. Just makes it have a little bit more of an authentic feel. The other thing to think about with your video, because you are a professional photographer, is think about the lighting and the background as well. This door behind us would have been nicer if it was shut. I don't mind seeing the picture on the wall behind us, but you might want to make that one of your images, because at the end of the day, you are a photographer, and we want to see the work that you're doing there as well. But all the way through the video, we're very much looking up your nose, mate. What I do, we don't need to mention us. So let's change these phrases that include the word I to terms of things that people want to achieve. You know, increase your sales, connect with your customers, bits and pieces like that. Again, with some of our shots, we need to make sure people look comfortable. We need to make sure that people look like they're actually doing what we say on the tin as well. We don't want the props to just look like they're there and never been used before. But I like the way that you've laid out some different examples. We could drop in some blocks of text here as to how you helped this young lady with her branding pictures because she's a PR journalist and bits like that, or this lady here is a business consultant, or this lady here runs a local tea shop, how so and so do computer repairs, bits and pieces like that. As easy as 1, 2, 3, and I've got 4 boxes. A lot of people aren't going to make these expand, and they're not really doing you much favors in the way of SEO because Google won't be pulling these apart. So trim it back down to 3 boxes and make it so that they're easily readable, some quick and easy bullet points, nice, easy things that they can digest. You need to add some white space in here because we've got everything a little bit crammed together. So this image is virtually hitting these images, or they in fact overlap. You'll see here where my cursor is at the moment, they're kind of crashing into each other. This media post made easy. We can make this title a lot smaller. We can add some white space in here, and we can actually think about this paragraph and this heading. This kind of at the moment looks like this block of text should probably be in this box, or there should be some white space between these 2 sections, because at the end of the day, the testimonials need to be here on their own because they're a point of focus. I love the fact you've put some testimonials in there, but we need to actually pull the eye to them. Now, one of the things I would avoid very much is dark colours as a background and light text, because there's an awful lot of people that suffer with partial colour blindness, and they will struggle to read some of these bits on a dark background. Again, we've got plenty of room for white space here, and there's 6 options for this table. We've got a couple of different options of things that we can do here. I would reverse the way that these pricing tables work. So we'd start with the most expensive down to the cheapest each time. But I would probably put this higher, more expensive table below. And I would probably label this table up like getting started with personal branding. And then the next table down, some advanced personal branding. Now that would give you, the other thing that I would do is if I drew a box around, say, this center one, change the background color of that center module, even if it's something like 20% gray, and it just attracts people's eyes to the ones that you actually want to sell. So that's something that's very important. But space this out a little bit more because it's very crammed together. There's an awful lot of information to take in there. But it's easy for us to kind of spread things out on this page a little bit more and introduce a bit more white space. We could add another heading in here, the advanced sessions, a little bit of text about the difference between those and the cheaper sessions. You've got another button here that says schedule a planning consultation. I don't know that's a button. It needs a physical button from the Divi theme dropped in there. But again, it's not quite the right place. This line here about additional costs, people kind of understand that if they want something outside the box, it's going to be a bit special. But the idea that there's all these additional costs that could be hidden is not something that I'd like as a customer. I would include some wording above that we tailor everything to your business's needs. That includes travel to you. That might include models and props, equipment hire, and specialist retouching. We can create a bespoke quotation for all of this. Make it a little bit softer, but it's about the fact that it's totally bespoke to them rather than we're going to smack you with all these extra charges. So scheduling the planning consultation, a consultation sounds painful. You're a Yorkshireman, you love a cup of tea, let's have a coffee and a chat about how to make your branding, how to improve your branding. Something along those lines is a lot softer and it's more likely to get somebody to engage with you. I like the recent work section. And if I click the button, it just takes me back to the top of the page. So I'm sure that doesn't work as it should do. Want to schedule an appointment? That's very, again, poor grammar. Let's book a coffee and chat, and then contact me button. It's a very nice, soft, easy way of doing things. Bottom of the page here, we need to remove all this in what's called the copyright bar area. We don't need to know it's developed by Elegant Themes or powered by WordPress. The fact that you leave those in there does leave a bit of a door open for people that are hacking websites and bits like that. We can put some more images through the center part here as well, soften that up. But most of all, I would change the colors of some of these backgrounds, make the color branding of your brand a little bit stronger, and work my way through. For your page, as far as SEO goes, let me just pull up. At the moment, we've got a page title. The term personal branding and branding images is just kind of coming into this country at the moment, Phill. We have to think about the kind of things that people will be putting into Google, and there are a certain number of people that will be putting branding images and branding photography in there, but we might think about things that we would search for, and they're the way that you can write the blog post. So you might put something along the lines of photographs for authors, or photographs for public speakers, or and the different terms like that, which actually, if we create a blog post around that, then it will give us the opportunity to actually rank well throughout the site, throughout Google rather. At the moment, there's no meta description to your page, which means that when it pops up in Google, this line will turn up at the top of the search that your site searches arrive in, but the actual description below will be auto-generated off of the site. So you've got no control at the moment as to the words that come up on the Google search. When you do come up in Google search, you've got a 1 in 10 chance at the moment of somebody popping up in there. So if you've not included some wording in here that actually inspires somebody to click through to your site, then you're missing a trick. And again, we need some alt tags on some of these pictures and some descriptions on some of these pictures down through the site as well. When you embed your video, the page that it's on over at YouTube or Vimeo, we can do some search engine optimization on as well. So we want to write some strong copy and content in the description box of your video, not that's duplicated off of your website, that's unique and ties it together and actually references back to your website as well. So there's some quick and easy things that you can go off and do to start improving this Phill. It is a job of continuous improvement, but that will give you a starter for 10 to go off and make this a little bit stronger in the way that it performs for you. And then we can have another look at it again in the future. So I'm Jamie Morgan, and this was a review of brandimages.co.uk, a website of Phill Andrew, a portrait photographer up in Yorkshire.